So as Mark just read for us from the book of Romans, Paul gives us this beautiful phrase that we encounter nowhere else in the Bible: hoping against hope. What a curious phrase that is. I'm not even sure I know exactly what it means. But Paul uses this phrase to describe the faith of our grandparents of the faith, Abraham and Sarah, and how in their old age they lived without hope of a child, and how God acted on their behalf and gave them the opportunity to have a child, Isaac. But today we're talking about hope. And what exactly is hope? It's somewhat confusing to think about what hope means, but the way I like to think about hope is to think about future. Hope, for me, is about the future. And here we are right in the middle of the Easter season when we are celebrating the hope of the resurrection. The truth that in Jesus Christ, because he was raised from the dead, all of us participate in that, and we have hope for the future. And so today, as we talk about kids' hope, and we talk about our relationship with these children, with the faculty and with the staff at Starksville Elementary School, what we're really talking about is the way this church and our mentors in particular are contributing to a future for these children. We're giving them an opportunity to realize, to believe, to dig deep down within themselves, to know that they are special, that they're called, that they're valued, that they're cherished as little children, and that God has a future for them. And they see that week in and week out as these mentors return, as we go to the school, and the kids live with this sense of anticipation. You may hear in some of the stories today from our mentors that it's not uncommon for the mentees to ask us on a weekly basis, are you coming back next week? Will we see you again next week? And so they live with a sense of anticipation and with a sense of hope. And so I hope that you will enjoy these stories that we're about to share with you today. And I invite Marilyn to come now. She's going to share a bit about where we came from. Marilyn has been a part of this program from the beginning. And so she's going to share about where we came from. Raymond and Mary are going to talk a little bit about their experience with Kids Hope, and then Laura's going to talk about where we are today and invite you to be a part of our future.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
Today is October 1998, and it is a Sunday in which I have returned to tell all of you about a program that David Eaton, in charge of missions, decided to talk me into doing. And I said, well, okay, never trust people who invite you to dinner. And David and his lovely wife, Ann, had said to my husband and me, why don't you come on over for dinner? We're going to have some people in, and we're just going to talk about some things that are, issues for people. Okay, no problem. So walked in, and after dinner, everybody was invited to go have coffee and dessert in the other room. And he said to me, could you come in here for a minute? Well, sure. Why not? So I walked in, and he sat down, and he said, Marilyn, we have a favor to ask of you. There's a program that was started in Michigan, and my son and his wife got involved in it in Illinois. And it's where we pair a church, and we pair a school, and one mentor and one child together. We get it all together and help at-risk children. And we need a director for our church. Would you be it? What do I know? I've just retired from 30 years of teaching high school kids. Why not go to elementary kids? I don't do this. So I said, well, okay, so what do I do? And he said, well, we will send you to Michigan for training to the Kids Hope headquarters for about a week. So I said, okay. And I decided that would be a great time to go on a trip up through that part of the country, and we'd spend some time. And I'm here today to tell you about what I learned. But I can't do it without your help, because we live in a community that has at-risk children. So what are at-risk children? The spectrum is enormous. And it ranges from kids who, number one, might have a parent in jail. We go all the way to a kid who's just been moved here from another area that he was in love with and he liked the kids, and he's adjusting slowly. So it runs this entire gamut. Now, I know in your mind, you're saying, we live in Canyon Lake, we don't have any at-risk children. But let me tell you that in 1998, yes, we do. Because 67% of our elementary kids are on free lunch. Now, is that a surprise? I don't care if it's a surprise or not. I need to talk to you about helping me help these kids. And so, I'm asking you to volunteer your time, and go in and go to the elementary school, which was in Sadler. And we're going to meet Dr. Erickson. She is the principal of the school. And we will get paired up and we will work with these kids. And then I'm going to ask you to also find somebody who will be your prayer partner. And by the way, I need some other people to help be substitutes or do whatever. So, and by the way, Raymond Rapp, I have a job for you. Since I'm not seeing you raise your hand at all. So all of you who in 1983 would like to be a mentor, stand up. All of you who were started with me in 1993, 98.
I'm not sure. I wasn't on, but
If you were a prayer partner at that time, stand up. No, not manager. So for those of you here today, we did start. We started with 19 mentors, their prayer partners, and some substitutes. And then we also had some training to go through. So this is October, we're gonna have Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, have a good time. And the week after Christmas, I'll see all of you back here and we're gonna train all day. And so we did. And we met and we trained and we did a lot of things. And 2 weeks later, we had kids in class that we were dealing with and helping, doing the very best and seeing what we could teach these kids or how we could make them feel loved, cared for. Yes, we would come to visit them. And now, all of this is going really well. And I'm happy, I've talked Raymond Rapp into going and to be a mentor. I needed some men. And Harold Edge was there, and Raymond was. And I'm not sure, I think Gallagher was. Some of these people have moved on to wherever, and some of them have stayed the same. But we did that first year have a get-together and a picnic out on the patio. Fellowship Hall had not been built. And I'm not sure, Ralph Manus, when did you and I sit on that committee that decided to build that Fellowship Hall?
2000, we finished it in 2005.
So that was late. And our husbands and our prayer partners and our substitutes boiled hot dogs out here. We had beans, hot dogs, chips, whatever for kids and families. That was a different century. Can't do it now. So anyway, that is the beginning of Kids Hope. Did it work? Were we accepted? Did the kids like us? Some days they did, some days they didn't. They're kids. That's the way it's supposed to work. But one day I was walking down the hall, and this little boy said, hey lady, can you stop for a minute? And I said, okay, what do you need? And he said, I need one of you. And I said, okay, why do you think you need one of me? And he said, I see you here all the time. I know that you're helping somebody. and I need one of you or one of those other people that look like you. So he and I had this little chat walking down the hall, and I said, you know what? I don't know how I can get you somebody right now, but, you know, if your teacher thinks you need one and your parents think you need one of me, well, maybe it can be worked out. We'll see. And he said, okay, I'll see you next week. Okay, I'll see you next week. So sure enough, I did see him the next week when I went to Mentor again, and he said, hey lady, did you get me one? I said, well, I didn't get you one this year, but I think I'm not sure that you really need one of me. He said, oh yeah, I watched you. I know what I need. And so thus began the Kids Hope program, with all the love and the care and the hope. And guess, Ralph?
Is it not worth mentioning that our church was the very first Kids Hope?
Well, I'm not there yet. and so, for Ralph Mangus, Canyon Lake Presbyterian Church became the very first Kids Hope church in Texas, and the first Presbyterian one in this side of the Mississippi. And since then, we have, Kids Hope has grown. My brother mentors in Boulder, Colorado, and has for several years. So it is spreading, and it has given all of us a blessing. We're not a blessing just to the children, but it was a blessing for this church, for this congregation. And if you add it up, 19 plus 19 is, oh boy, are you quick. And if we add a few substitutes, and if we add husbands and wives who will help, more than 75% of the people, the congregation in this church, that first year contributed to the activities of Kids Hope. And at some point I had known Laura because I also read to kids at the library. And Eric was 3 years old when I met Laura. And then later on I thought, you know what? She's better at everything that I am. She's creative, she's clever, she's artistic, she'd be good at this. And so I invited her to lunch. And that's Laura, and that's Kids Hope.
I don't have any idea that I can follow that. And I should have a couple of stories to tell you about her, but y'all haven't got that long. Anyway, this lady talked me into doing this, and I said, I'm the worst elementary person you could pick. There's nobody in you that you could pick. This, you know, I'm a secondary teacher, and these guys turn me off. Well, you understand. She said, what day can you be here? I said, Friday's the only day. Well, you got it, Friday. Anyway, let me just give, I'm not going to talk it long, hopefully. Let me give you, I've got two stories. One was an early story, and one is very recent. I'm going to talk about Jacob Thomas. His mentor was Bill Wiles. Some of you know who Bill Wiles is, but, and he talked Jacob into joining the youth group in our church. Jacob then joined the church, became a member. He ran into some trouble with his family, and this guy on the back back there. Safety. Jump downs in Genie. Placed him in a boys' ranch in Amarillo, where he graduated, and he graduated early in December, and has now joined the Marines. Enlisted in the Marines, entered a boot camp in April the 1st, so he'll be out in the 1st of July. We can't even get a hold of Jacob right now because they took his phone away from him. But there are people in this church, all over this church, long gone people that invested some time in Jacob. And he came back last spring and told everybody this was his church. This was his home. Anyway, he's always going to be our guy. And I didn't have to, Bill Wiles is the one that did it all, so I don't have any investment in it except patting him on the back. The second story is a different kind of story. And this is Chad's guy, Jaden. Is that correct? My kids Hope and I were in the workroom. This was about 3 weeks ago. And we were working in this nice little guy, coming with a great big smile. And he had a computer in his hand. He had been taking a test on the computer. He was putting a computer up. And so he kept smiling, and you just knew that he wanted to say something. Finally, before he got to the door, he said, "I am a kid Hope person." Yeah. And I said, "Well, who is your mentor?" He says, "Chad." And so I was going to make a little bit. I said, "Is Chad any good?" and he quickly replied, "Oh, yes, he is. He is very good." And it hit me. I said, as far as I'm concerned, this is what Kids Hope is about. None of us are good. At least I've already told you that I wasn't any good. But I was worse elementary person that people could find. But none of us that take these jobs as members are any good. God makes us good. In our mind, these kids say, "This guy, this lady is good." And so, you may not be in this program, people, but I want you to know, if you don't take advantage of this, at least would you please pray for these folks. They need prayer partners, and you pray for what they're doing. Because they're going to come out of here, every one of these folks. My guy's already pulling on my leg and saying, "Are you coming back next year?" And I didn't even understand. I think he understood what I was talking about, much less. Anyway, so please, this is one more thing. If you're not going to get into this program, at least pray for the folks that are. Thank you. Amen.
Good morning. My name's Mary Phillips. I'm kind of one of the new kids on the block. No pun intended. attended. And I've been mentoring for 2.5 years now, and I've had 3 students, 2 boys, which were a joy. I played a lot of basketball, shot a lot of hoops, those during that period of time. Spent a little time on schoolwork, but usually didn't have any, which I know that line from having a son myself. But now I have a little girl. So if I can just demonstrate for you real quickly what happens to her when she sees me and when I see her. It's like, I knock on the door to the classroom, it's like, she gets excited. I'm excited. I mean, there's like this joy that emanates from her, and she's not real sure if she needs to talk to her teacher, if she needs to grab her backpack, but she's excited and she's ready to come in and us spend our time together. Her name is Desiree. She is a 2nd grade little precious girl, and she brightens my week. It's a purpose every week to do something above yourself, something outside of yourself. And she has brought joy to my life. I hope that I bring joy to her life, and I'm pretty confident that the good Lord knows that and takes care of that for me. We study sometimes we just chat. I mean, we're both girls, go figure. She likes to just talk and tell me stories and let me listen attentively to her. That was the listening part of our assurance. We go outside sometimes, not have shot a hoop with her yet, but maybe we'll share those skills someday soon. But Desiree is a darling little girl. She has some problems with memory sometimes, and so Laura wanted me to share with you all something that I learned through reading and learning about a deficit that my own son had in school. And so we study, and we're studying something, and then when I go to quiz her about it, she immediately tells me, I don't know. And I'm like, yes, you do. And so I tell her, I give her the example because I know that mental block, when the stress comes of someone asking you, or the stress of sitting down and taking a test, sometimes your thought habit doesn't open. And I did use the term thought habit because I'm aging myself here. But so I said, yes, you do. I said, remember we studied it, and it's up here. It's in your little file. I should call it a hard drive, don't you think? So I'm going to change that next time we're studying, and she has exams. But so I said, yes, you do. It's in your file cabinet here. Just open the drawer, go in, and find it. And so she's quiet for a minute, and then she can tell me the answer. So God brings us through things in our own life that we've experienced or that we've learned or a challenge that we've had. And then He places us in the exact place that He wants us to be. Because that experience has prepared us to help another. Is that not a beautiful thing? It touches my heart to know that that's something that God does in all of our lives. And something that we thought was difficult is a joy. So I just want to share, one other thing that Laura has taught us to do in our little kids' home thing is a little handshake. So I did handshakes with the guys, my 2 boys that I had previously. They're in middle school now. One did move away, but one is here in Sadler. But over in Starksville, we greet each other with a handshake. And it's the most precious thing because the handshakes with the guys were quite different than with a little girl. Ours has snaps, and it has claps, and it has and we have a curtsy and a bow. So if you don't want to miss that, come to our little party on Tuesday because we will all do our little handshakes with one another and with the mentors and show one another what the handshakes are. But we have a great time. We learn. We help them with school. We help them with just life in general. And we're so thankful to Sue is not here this morning, but Sue is my prayer partner. And we don't talk a lot. I connect with her. I send her an email every now and then. It's not a huge job, but it's the most important one. So I'm thankful for Sue.
So honestly, I think I'm the prize winner here. I think I'm the one that has the best job because I get to hear all these stories every single every time. And our story stitches together like a big old Kids Hope quilt. And even though all of our stories aren't always soft or cozy, but when we bind all the strands of our stories together, we become stronger together. Over time, we have become a very strong organization. So today, we're celebrating Kids Hope USA. And when you stop to think about it, hope is kind of a curious thing. And Chad and I were talking about that this week, and we both thought, you know, what is hope exactly? You can't see it or smell it. You can't hold it. You can't hear it. So it's kind of a vague concept. But we all know what hope is, don't we? So to hope is to look ahead to the future with a desire. So to hope, we have to imagine the future. For my Tabitha, the future is just next week. As in, will you be here next Wednesday? We talked about that. And for Coach Rapp's chance last week, it was, are you going to mentor me next year? So for a kid, a week is forever. They can't comprehend a whole year. But our weeks stack up fast, and in fact, before we know it, boom, the year is slipping away. And it takes a long time to connect and to build and to strengthen. But the teachers at Starksville Elementary School have come to value this time that we spend with these kids so much that they try to keep our relationships going as long as they can, all the way through elementary school, if possible. So to a second grader who can barely imagine next week, the depth of the bonds that have 2 or 3 or more years invested in them go very deep, and they travel with them far into the future. But in order to look forward, we have to look back, and Marilyn shared some of those stories with us. But we began at Mountain Valley Elementary School in 1998, and when we did that, I don't think the initiators of this program could fathom the legacy that they were beginning. And the educators couldn't fully comprehend our commitment to our faith and to God and to them and to their students. But we kept coming year after year. We kept bringing our trademark Kids Hope mentor bags full of educational games and snacks and Kleenex and listening ears and laughter and love. And kids kept growing in trust and confidence and well-being, and the teachers understood. So I took over in 2006, and in 2007, when Mountain Valley Elementary School transitioned into Starksville Elementary School, we were asked to come along. So fast forward 21 years, and here we are. Over 90 mentors have served with Kids Hope through Canyon Lake Presbyterian Church, and some, as you know, who are still here today. Yeah, that is worth it. For all the years, we've relearned our multiplication tables and our long division, which is probably our biggest challenge to date. We've enriched our faith by giving and by receiving, and our prayer partners faithfully keep us lifted and encouraged every single week. But most importantly, we've made lasting connections. Literally hundreds of kids have basked in the care of devoted folks, and now thousands of high five later, we're a church connected to an elementary school, and to its educators, and to its kids, and to its families. We're a church rooted in our community. With the bonds forged and the appreciation deepened over decades of partnership, we are the body of Christ walking through the halls of the school, sharing the light that God tells us to shine. So all we have to do is look back at all the people touched and all the memories made and all the stories told and heard over the past 21 years to see that we stand an abundance of hope into the future, a future that's as infinite as our hope. Thanks, all.
So, that's amazing. I'm so proud of all of these mentors. Thank you for sharing your stories with us all today. Turn my microphone on so you can hear me. Yeah, and so when I think about my experience as a mentor, and I'm very new at this, I've been with Jaden for this school year only, but I truly believe that I am a better person because of my relationship with this young child. He keeps me motivated. He gives me a reason to wake up early on Tuesday morning. He is just such a bundle of joy and reminds me so much of myself as a young child who struggled to pay attention, who had challenges with attention deficit disorder, would rather be on the basketball court than playing or doing math projects or reading a book. And so I really identify with this young child. And what I try to do, what I remind myself week in and week out to do with Jaden, is to inspire in him possibility. Because I know that there are kids like him and like myself when I was a young child who the thought of college was not even in their mind. The thought of going on and doing great things was not something that they thought about. And so I try to remind him that he can do anything that he sets his mind to, that he can be anyone he wants to be, that he's important and special and valued, and that I really care deeply about him. And so it's such a wonderful gift. And I'm thankful to Marilyn, and to Raymond, and to Laura, and to all those people who came before us and paved the way for this ministry to happen. You know, what we're involved here at Canyon Lake Presbyterian Church in is relationships and connections. And I love this image that Laura gave us, this image of a quilt of hope that these mentors and their prayer partners and all of us are sewing together. And what an amazing impact we're making in the Canyon Lake community. Our fingerprints are all over the place in this part of Comal County. You think about Jacob's story and all the other stories that we're not hearing about, and how these kids have gone on to do great things. And so I'm so proud to be a part of this. I'm so proud of each of you for your prayers and support.